The Baltimore Ravens finally got their statement win on the board, and it came in dominant fashion against a tough Cleveland Browns team that's been known for its defensive grit. But this wasn't just any bounce-back win. This was a game where the Ravens showed the full weight of their identity. Physical on defense, opportunistic on special teams, and led by one of the most electric quarterbacks the league has ever seen. Lamar Jackson reminded everyone why he's still one of one. And even when it looks like the offense is sputtering, he finds a way to light it up by the final whistle. Coming off a tough opening loss, this team walked into Week 2 with something to prove. And that scoreboard didn't lie. 41 points dropped on a Browns defense that many consider among the league's best. The narrative heading in wasn't exactly easy, either. You had Joe Flacco returning, whispers about the Ravens' depth, special teams' performance being questioned after Week 1. It all created a storyline that could have gone sideways fast. But instead, Baltimore used it as fuel. And perhaps no unit turned it around more than the defense and the special teams, both of which showed up big in this game. But let's start with Lamar, because the man continues to redefine what greatness at the quarterback position even looks like. Yes, the numbers speak volumes. 4 touchdowns, over 40 points, and another reminder that he's not just a dual threat, he's a constant nightmare for defenses. With that performance, Lamar now holds the highest career passer rating in NFL history, surpassing Aaron Rodgers. We're talking decimals here, but that still means something. It's another layer in a legacy that's still being written. On top of that, he now has the most games with 4 or more passing touchdowns since 2021. And keep in mind, this is a guy who's missed a dozen regular season games in that span. And don't forget all the fourth quarters he hasn't even played because the Ravens were already up big. This wasn't even Lamar's most explosive game, and yet it was another masterclass in how to control tempo, extend plays, and make defenses pay for even the slightest misstep. That play where he scrambles around, avoids a sack, and then hits Zay Flowers for a first down? That's classic Lamar. And sometimes we get so used to seeing those plays that we forget how absurdly difficult they are. You can't coach that. You can't replicate that in a film room. That's just raw instinct and elite athleticism at play. And when you combine that with the weapons around him, it's scary. Derrick Henry pounding the rock. DeAndre Hopkins showing he's still got elite hands and body control. Tez Walker emerging as this sneaky weapon who's making every single catch count. Literally, because all 3 of his first career receptions have gone for touchdowns. And then there's Zay, who continues to dominate in terms of targets and trust from Lamar. Even when Cleveland clamped down on Zay, others stepped up. That's the mark of a dangerous offense. You focus on one guy, and the others burn you. Now, let's not overlook what's happening on the other side of the ball. The Ravens' defense brought the heat, especially when it mattered most. Joe Flacco faced constant pressure, and although Kyle Van Noy left the game with an injury, there was no drop-off in energy. Mike Green, a rookie, stepped up in a big way. He might have missed out on that sack, but it's clear the coaches are impressed with how quickly he's picking things up, adjusting his angles, tightening his run fits, showing real physicality off the edge. John Harbaugh said it best. The kid's only going to get better, and he's already showing flashes that suggest he belongs. And it's not just Mike. This rookie class, man, they are making a real impact. Malachi Starks, Teddy Buchanan, Tyler Loop, these guys aren't just on the field, they're contributing at a high level in high-pressure moments. When you have 3 rookies starting on punt coverage alone, and then more on other phases of special teams and defense, it says a lot about the front office's ability to scout Ravens-type players. High motor, high effort, physical, relentless. That's the DNA. That's what Harbaugh wants. That's what wins games in this league. You've also got players like Charlie Kolar and Zay stepping into bigger roles due to injuries. And they're not just filling space, they're producing. Charlie is that old school, do-it-all tight end who's making plays both in the run game and on special teams. Zay's story is even more compelling. A guy who's been grinding since week 3 last year, waiting for his shot. And now, he's getting it, and making the most of it. Whether it's blocking in the backfield or creating lanes on special teams, this is someone who's bought into the culture, and it's showing on the field. Then you look at the special teams. Talk about a turnaround. After a shaky start in week 1, the unit delivered one of their best performances in recent memory. Every single kickoff return by Cleveland was tackled inside the 30-yard line. That's insane efficiency. Tyler Loop continues to grow into the role, and yes, the kickoffs are a work in progress, but that's part of the learning curve in this new NFL landscape where touchbacks come with a price. And blocking a punt? That's rare in this league. That was a momentum shifter. Jake Mell made that happen with a perfectly timed rush and expert technique, something that doesn't just happen by luck. That's film, coaching, and pure execution. And listen, this is only week 2. Baltimore is still figuring things out, still battling injuries, still rotating guys in and out. But the core identity is there, and it's as strong as ever. This is a team that thrives off adversity, that responds to tough weeks with dominant performances, and that plays like every phase of the game matters. And that's why, even in a league where margins are razor-thin and wins are never guaranteed, the Ravens are always in the conversation. What makes this team so dangerous isn't just the star power. It's the depth behind the stars. It's the players who step in without skipping a beat when someone goes down. You look at someone like Patrick Ricard, a cornerstone of the Ravens offense, who hasn't been available these first 2 weeks due to a slower-than-expected recovery. That's a big loss, no question. But rather than panic, the Ravens adapted. They found new ways to stay physical in the trenches and relied on guys like Zai and Charlie Kolar to carry that fullback tight end hybrid responsibility. Neither one of them was necessarily expected to play that kind of role, but they did, and they did it well. That's the essence of next man up football, and it's alive and well in Baltimore. And let's be clear, this is not some Cinderella story. These are players who've been grinding for opportunities behind the scenes. Take Zai, for example. The guy has been relentless since joining the team in week 3 last season. Every practice, every lift, every rep, he's been attacking it like his future depended on it. And when the call came, he didn't blink. One day he's a backup tight end. The next he's being asked to play fullback against one of the toughest defenses in the league. And he delivered. That's not just football ability. That's character. That's culture. And that's what separates teams who survive from the ones who thrive. Charlie Kolar is another prime example. He's been contributing in multiple ways, from blocking assignments to filling in on special teams when needed. He might not be flashy, but he's steady, dependable, and understands his role in the bigger picture. That's the kind of guy every successful team needs. Someone who doesn't seek headlines, but always answers the call. Charlie does the dirty work, and he does it at a high level. When Isaiah likely isn't out there, it's Charlie stepping into that space and holding it down with intelligence, toughness, and quiet confidence. And while we're on the subject of stepping up, we can't forget about TJ Tampa. This is a guy who's shown real growth from year 1 to year 2. Early on, he made his mark on special teams, gunning down returners, making his presence felt. But now, he's earning meaningful snaps on defense. And he's not just out there to fill space. He's making plays. That pass breakup last week. The burst he showed to close in on that ball. That's elite-level athleticism. And you can see it in his confidence, too. He's earned his shot, and now he's running with it. But let's bring it back to the passing game for a second because we need to talk about what's happening at wide receiver. While Zay Flowers continues to be the top target for Lamar, and rightfully so, this week we saw a serious emergence from 2 other threats, Tez Walker and DeAndre Hopkins. Starting with Tez, this guy is making NFL history in silence. 3 catches in his career, 3 touchdowns. That's not just efficient, that's historic. And it's not gimmicky either. These are real routes, real coverage, real separation. The man has world-class track speed, and it shows. On that second touchdown, he just flat-out outran the defender. And it's not just about being fast. It's about knowing when to turn on the jets and how to create leverage with your body. Tez is doing that, and he's doing it with poise beyond his years. Now imagine being a young wide receiver like Tez and learning next to a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best pure hands in the game, still elite in body control, route running, and making contested catches. People wanted to say he was washed, that he didn't have it anymore. Those people are eating their words. The man is out there proving, week after week, that when the ball is in his radius, it's basically his. That touchdown against Buffalo, that wasn't just a good catch. That was a highlight reel reminder of who DeAndre Hopkins still is. He's elevating the entire room, on and off the field. In practice, in meetings, in games, his presence matters. And what's crazy is, he's doing all this while sharing targets with young, hungry receivers. That speaks volumes about the chemistry in this locker room. Speaking of chemistry, let's give some love to the special teams once again, because honestly, they were a huge reason why the Ravens came out on top in this game. Tyler Loop continues to earn his stripes. Kickoffs are tricky under the new rules, and yes, it's going to take time. But even with those adjustments still underway, he's doing his job and showing progress. You could see the discipline and physicality from the coverage unit too. Every single return was stopped inside the 30. That's not just on the kicker. That's a full unit buying into what the Ravens expect from their special teams. It's technique, it's hustle, and it's awareness. That's been part of Baltimore's DNA for years, and now it's being passed on to the next wave of players. And then there was the blocked punt. Let's talk about it. That was a turning point, no doubt. The moment you hear that loud, awkward sound of a football being smacked off an arm instead of a punter's foot, it changes the game. Jake Mell was the guy who got it done, and credit to him, because blocking a punt is not easy. You're running full speed at a moving target, with a blocker in your way, and you have a tiny window to make the play without roughing the kicker. But Jake did it. And what's even better is that he knew he was close the first time and came back the second time determined to finish the job. He called his shot, and then he delivered. That's championship mentality right there. What makes that play even more impactful is the timing. The Ravens' offense hadn't built up momentum yet. It was still one of those early game moments where you're feeling out the flow, trading possessions, trying to find a spark. That block was the spark. It flipped field position, it put pressure on the Browns, and it gave Baltimore's offense a chance to operate on a short field. And in this league, short fields mean touchdowns. It was one of those hidden moments that can turn a game around without showing up loudly on the stat sheet. It all ties back to the culture that John Harbaugh has built. A head coach with special teams in his blood, and a front office that knows how to draft players who fit that mold. Guys who aren't just athletes, they're Ravens. They're physical, smart, and willing to play their role without ego. That's how you build a team that can sustain success through adversity. That's how you win games in September and set the tone for the rest of the season. Everywhere you look, this roster is filled with players who take ownership of the little things. Guys who embrace the grind and elevate the team without demanding the spotlight. It's not always glamorous, but it's effective. And as we've seen already in just 2 weeks, those hidden contributions matter. Whether it's a young rookie showing up in crunch time, or a veteran reminding the league that he's still elite, or a role player stepping into a new position and thriving, it all adds up. And that's what makes this team dangerous. You can't key in on one guy. You can't predict who's going to be the difference maker each week. Sometimes it's Lamar, sometimes it's DeAndre, sometimes it's a backup fullback or a rookie gunner. That kind of unpredictability forces opposing teams to prepare for everything. And when you combine that with the discipline and physicality the Ravens bring on every snap, it creates a formula that's hard to beat. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Whispers are starting to circulate across the NFL world, and the latest buzz involves none other than star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Sources close to the league suggest that the all-pro talent could be packing up his cleats and saying farewell to the purple of Baltimore. Yes, you read that right. Hopkins may be on the move, leaving the Ravens faithful wondering how long they'll have to endure a Hopkins-less offense. Hopkins, known for his jaw-dropping catches and ability to turn even the tightest coverage into highlight reel plays, has been a cornerstone of Baltimore's aerial attack. Yet, despite his consistent brilliance, the chatter suggests that a new chapter may be on the horizon. Insiders hint that front offices from other cities are circling, eager to bring his game-changing hands to a fresh set of fans. The details are still murky, but the rumor mill refuses to quit. Could this be the end of an era in Charm City? The notion of Hopkins donning a new jersey has set social media ablaze, with fans speculating on potential landing spots. Teams desperate for a true WR1 are reportedly in the mix, and whispers hint that salary cap maneuvers could play a pivotal role in any potential trade. Baltimore, on the other hand, may face a difficult decision: hold on to a superstar in his prime or capitalize on trade talks to reshape their roster. Either way, this saga is proving that the NFL's offseason is far from dull. While Hopkins has remained tight-lipped, sources suggest that his desire to compete for a championship could be a factor behind the speculation. A change of scenery might offer new opportunities, and the thought of Hopkins bringing his elite skills to a new city has pundits already drawing up hypothetical highlights. Will he thrive in a different system, or is Baltimore still the perfect home for his talents? For now, the answer remains elusive, but one thing is certain. The rumor of DeAndre Hopkins leaving Baltimore is capturing the attention of football fans everywhere, and the coming weeks could bring a seismic shakeup to the NFL landscape. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.